for a young person, if they have one employer encounter for every year at the school, they are 86% less likely to become NEET, so not in education, employment or training.
I think traditionally, I look back to, when I was at school and the careers advice, and it was quite basic, and it was kind of it was quite really few industries that they would sort of talk around, and I feel like now that's certainly changed. I think there's definitely a need now and more of an awareness around helping sort of children at a younger age to start to think about, because you don't always know at kind of 15, 16. I know the fact that I've come into marketing and only in the last 10 years, you don't really necessarily know what you want to do at a young age, but it's kind of having the knowledge and also having access to people that can help you kind of shape some of those decisions and talk around the things that you might not even know exist. So I know that, when we talk about marketing, a lot of people think, it's about having a good website, it's about having a really good brand, it's about, social media. And there's so many different other elements that come into that, which, even from a kind of, technical and IT point of view, and making sure there's so many different areas that you can go into. So I think I'm really interested in kind of getting to them at a younger age where they can start really thinking about what the opportunities are. So what is it the Enterprise Advisor Network do specifically then to kind of get to answer some of these questions?
We do that. getting towards the young people. Yeah, absolutely. So the Enterprise Advisor Network, we have enterprise coordinators. So we are part funded by the New Anglia LEP and the Careers and Enterprise Company. And we have 8 Gatsby benchmarks, which highlights good careers guidance. And so basically, in a nutshell, what we are that little bridge between the world of work and education. So we're kind of bringing them together. So we like to get employers from obviously a variety of different sectors to come in to be doing stuff with the students, whether that be a workshop or a lunchtime talk, and some of these things are virtual now as well. So we know that landscape has changed since COVID. We know we can do things digitally. Obviously it's great to do things in person. I think it captures the students more. But there is that opportunity now. Well, actually, can it be a virtual lunchtime talk? 20 minutes of an employer coming in, having a conversation about their career path, how they got there. We know there's so many different ways of, into an industry now. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to highlight lots of different career paths, how you can do it, route ways in. Is it a degree apprenticeship, or do you want to, actually go to university or, college or A-levels? So we work with different people, highlighting a number of route ways as well as different sectors as well. And I think, that's creating that change. And there is the statistic as well. This is the one statistic I've got, so please don't ask me for it anymore. But there's for a young person, if they have one employer encounter for every year at the school, they are 86% less likely to become NEET, so not in education, employment or training. And I just think they're 86% less likely. That's a huge number, just having that one encounter every year at school with an employer. So we can see how important that is.
I think you just touched on about, talking to students around, the options that, naturally a lot of people sort of think A-levels and degree, and, we've got a lot of people that have joined us that have done marketing degrees. But I think it's a really important message to say that, you don't necessarily have to, like you said, you don't necessarily have to go to university. You can come into the world of work, having had A-levels, or even, if you've gone to college and done other courses. I think it kind of touches so many areas. I know when my daughter was thinking about her A-levels, and I kind of sort of said, do the ones you enjoy, because whatever you decide to do, whether it is marketing or whatever, I don't think she's going to come into the world of marketing, unfortunately, but, it's kind of, it doesn't really matter because there's so many different elements that it will apply to. So I think that's important, isn't it? That getting that message that you do not have to go to university and study and then think about, coming into the industry at that point. So I'm thinking, like, what more could we do then as a company, as business owners, around helping you initially, because obviously you're at the forefront trying to deliver the message, and I'm assuming you kind of work with lots of different schools and lots of different colleges. So what could we do then to help you get that message, which would then ultimately help us to get some of those people to come into the industry and help us grow our company?
Yeah. And you said it so well there. It is that two-way relationship. So we have so much local talent here. So we're across Norfolk and Suffolk schools and colleges. We have so much local talent. And it's about being able to, we selfishly, we want to keep them here in our local area, working with the local businesses. And it's so simple. It's about going into schools, interacting, doing workshops, holding events for them. And it doesn't have to take too much time, but also giving them that opportunity to experience the world of work. So we know school is so different to the workplace. So some students may have the passion, they may have this great skill set, but actually do they know how they need to act within a workplace? And some people don't. So it's about, getting to come in, doing some work experience, getting them to have that feel for the working professional environment, but also creating that meaningful work experience. So not just getting them to go, we'll get them to go make a cup of tea or do some filing. It's actually, do we have a bottom drawer project that we've been trying to get off the ground, but, we haven't really had, the power behind it, the staff behind it to do it. Can we get the work experience students in? Have that conversation with them to start with. What's their passion? What's their strengths? Can you create a project around that that's going to help your business, but also getting them that real feeling and experience of the workplace? Because ultimately, that 3 days or 5 days work experience, that's going to give them that opportunity to experience that professional environment, get excited about the industry. But also when they then come to you at later date, they've had that experience, they know how to behave professionally as well. So
I mean, sometimes we've obviously had lots of work experience, placements come through, and it's sometimes quite difficult because it's normally like two weeks, sometimes even less. So you're absolutely right. I think you've got to make sure that experience counts and that they do get a really nice exposure to what it would be like coming to work for us. And that's definitely not things like making the teas and coffees and filing, which is I think what I did back in my experience, work experience days. But I think where we're doing things right is we kind of have this really nice sort of foundation level training sort of structure where we will actually put them through some of the training they would be doing if they were coming to work for us, but also giving them the time to spend with the various head of departments so that they can actually see. It's almost like a day in the life of the creative team, or just shadowing and just watching and learning and making sure that the team talk to them about what they do and how they do it, and just giving them that kind of insight. That's I think what's key, but we need to probably do more of. So in terms of external events and things, I know I've gone to career festivals in the past, and you walk around and you're kind of sometimes a bit nervous. You can see that they kind of some of the younger students are a bit, don't necessarily want to go and talk to someone, or a bit you don't really know how to, what questions they're going to ask. So is there other things that we could do to help sort of externally, outside of the business, outside of work experience, that we could help to get that message across and be available for questions and things?
So the schools, they do lots of different events as well, and I know you mentioned like the careers fair there. I'm not necessarily a fan of careers fairs because I think the young people just run around and go, free stuff, this is great. And you're trying to chat to so many different people, to so many different students. But what I really like is business breakfast or networking events, but at the school and at the colleges. And that works really well because the students are able to be speaking to the members of staff. Obviously, they're networking with different employers, different businesses. So they're really challenging themselves. They're pushing themselves outside their comfort zone. But also they're showing the employers actually who they are as a person, and being able to have a bit more of a conversation. And so that's why I really like those networking events. I think they're giving the opportunities for young people to hear about the industry, hear about the different roles, but gaining, that more confidence around employers, because I think sometimes young people have that imposter syndrome. So putting them in a professional environment like that, I think they're going to gain so much more from it. So business breakfasts or networking events for schools, I think are brilliant.
That kind of leads on quite nicely to what we're going to be building as part of the agency. So we are going to be launching our academy, which is going to be around inviting candidates to be a part of it. It'll essentially be a training opportunity, but with a view that there could be sort of job opportunity at the end of it. And I think, and this is not going to just be for sort of younger students coming through, the education. This could be for anybody really, anyone that decides at any point in their life they want to try something different or they want to change a career. So it's not just going to be limited to that, but there'll be lots of promotion that we'll be doing a little bit closer to when we're ready to launch it. But I think it'd be interesting to sort of make sure we talk before we do that, so that we do give those opportunities for the people that you think might be absolutely ideal for that. And I think the other side of that is, whether it does mean that they end up having a role within the company, or whether they decide marketing or it's not what they wanted, they will still come away with a certificate or a kind of skill set and knowledge that they didn't have, that they can then look at, well, what would I want to do with this now, or where else can I go from here? So I won't talk too much about that now, because it's still kind of in the process of all being pulled together. But no, that's really good. So predictions then of where we go sort of post-education, then there's obviously lots of work being done. And it's really, from my point of view, selfishly, I'm glad this is all happening, and that, because we obviously benefit from, having the people coming through, the education, and hopefully want to come and speak to us about careers and helping us to grow the team. So how are you seeing things go then in the next? I know it's been massive change the last 2 years. Obviously, just the digital landscape itself is constantly evolving and changing. So what are your kind of predictions, if you can, around where we sort of go in the next sort of 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, it's really, I always find that question is so hard to answer, because there's so many, if I'm coming from a school environment, there's kind of those changes that are always happening that put more barriers on teachers or the career staff within the school, and the senior leadership team, which makes it hard sometimes for them to do the things that they want to do for their students. But I think there is more of this blended learning approach, which opens the doors more, which is brilliant. So, and that has been since COVID. So we are doing more things virtually. And I think that's been, although it's been difficult, it has interrupted their learning, but actually getting them to know that they can do things virtual has opened the doors for them learning about so many different careers, interacting with different people. So I do feel more of that blended approach will be happening. I'm also really passionate about, so my degree was in special educational needs and disability studies, and I'm so passionate about inclusive learning and creating those opportunities for students who have additional needs, because they can offer so much value. And I think creating, and we're doing a lot of work with this at the moment within the Enterprise Advisor Network, we're creating more awareness actually around how you can create these inclusive working environments and the value that those young people can offer. So I'm really hoping that will, obviously that's going to change the way that employers work, but also gives so much more opportunities for those young people as well, which is great.
I think the key is that we develop this relationship, and the people that you can put us in contact with, and like you say, just getting the message out there. And like you said, you cover quite a large region anyway. There's so much more we can do, and I think the more that we work closely with you, at the point when you know, students and the younger generation are starting to think about what they want to do. I mean, that's got to be key, right?